I completely failed at my attempts to make a realistic Cybertruck by hand, so we're going to pretend that that didn't happen, and we're going to go to the experts. Fortunately, model cars is something that people love making assets of, and there's heaps of model car assets out there for you to choose from. I've found this pretty nice looking one by Outpiston. It's a Creative Commons license, and I've downloaded it and tidied it up a little bit, split it into a body section and wheels section so that it's all ready to go in our Godot game, and I'll have this for you in our Google Classroom assets. There are quite a few textures packaged with these assets, so I highly recommend adding a new folder to your assets folder. I'm going to call mine car, so that when I drag the assets into that car folder, you'll see we've got, going to import for a second, they've got a whole bunch of normals and roughness textures styling that Audi car. So I'm going to delete all the old meshes and collision shapes that I don't need in my car anymore. Delete, 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 and just leave the vehicle body and the vehicle wheels and the camera. And now I'm going to drag in my new assets. I'm going to drag the Audi body onto my vehicle body, and it's going to pop up in exactly the right spot for us. Then I'm going to go and drag the Audi wheel onto the first vehicle wheel, and that has popped up at exactly the 0 point of the wheel, but we're going to need to move some of our wheels. To get these wheels in the right spot, I'm going to click up a level on my vehicle wheel, and I'm going to change the transform to a very specific number, which I happen to know because it's the opposite of the transform I did to make this wheel centered. It's 0.795 on the x-axis, 0.185 on the y-axis, and 1.324 on the z-axis. That just gets it back to where it was on the full model that didn't have the wheels separated. Those numbers are exactly the same for our other three wheels, except that sometimes the x and z are negative to get them in the other positions. So I'm going to drag a wheel onto vehicle wheel 2, vehicle wheel 3, and vehicle wheel 4, and they're all in the right spot except that these two on the right hand side need to be turned around. I'm going to do that on the mesh. I don't want to be turning the wheel itself around because that arrow needs to point forwards, but on the mesh, that mesh and that mesh, I'm going to hold down control, rotate the wheels, and then enter in those exact same numbers again that I entered on the first wheel by clicking on the wheel, going to transform. It's minus 0.795, 0.185, 1.324. That's my front two wheels done. The back wheel, this one, back wheel there, will be plus 0.795, 0.185, and minus 1.324 to keep this one at the back. And this final one will have both of those x and z coordinates being negative, so minus 0.795, 0.185, minus 1.324. All exactly the same numbers. Sorry they're a bit fiddly, but I think it's the nicest thing we could do, and we've got a really nice looking car with 4 wheels on it. Oh, and I almost forgot, we want to change the radius of the wheels. The wheels are 0.5 meters by default, but the wheels of this car are a bit smaller, at 0.3. So I'm going to click on all 4 wheels while holding down control. So I've highlighted all 4 wheels. I'm going to open this wheel section and change the radius from 0.5 to 0.326, which is the radius of the wheels we've got on our model car. One thing I quite like about this particular model car is that it's quite easy to edit its colour. There's just one bit of setup that we need to do first, which is go to the body model and just check this option in the side panel for importing materials. By default, don't get extracted with the rest of the car and you're not able to edit them. So I'm going to change this extract option in the materials to extract once instead of keep internal, and that means that I should be able to play around with all the children inside this car and change their materials. I'm going to click on Audi S4 body and make it have editable children, and then I can see all the different parts of the car inside it. So it's got headlights, I can move them, you can see that's the headlight parts. I've got red glass and orange glass and glass, and then increasingly complicated bits of car as it goes on. We've got a frame and a chassis and the interior. It's got a whole bonnet in here. People really love their model cars. There's heaps of detail in this car. But the only thing I'm interested in for now is the body panels, very, very top one, and that's got all of the coloured parts of the car stored inside it. So I should be able to click on this mesh, and then for whatever reason the material in all of these meshes is hidden in this section that says surface 0, and then I should be able to edit this material. If this albedo section is still grayed out for you, then just make sure you've checked extract once in your GLB file and clicked re-import on it. Then you should be able to click on this colour and change the car to any colour you want it to be. You can drag it up to be white, drag saturation over there to be red, and maybe drag it down a bit, have a darker colour car. And just about any colour you can imagine on this car looks pretty nice. It's my darker coloured cars, lighter coloured cars. It's really hard to get a bad looking car with this, so it's something I really like about this model. Almost any colour that you feel like making this car is a good colour. So I don't know what colour I'm going to make my car. Maybe a kind of a, what have we got? Purpley colour. Purple car. Matai. Now I just need to remember to add my collision shape back to the car, and a good mesh to use to recreate this collision shape is this body panels mesh, because it's pretty much the same shape as our car. So I'm going to click on body panels, click on our mesh button to create a collision shape, and you'll notice even when I drag this collision shape up onto the car, I still have a little warning icon. I can click this warning and it tells me that the normal type of collision shape we make is too sort of programmatically expensive, complicated, requires heaps of calculations when we've got something that's moving. So I don't want to just leave this mesh creation thing at the default option. If I go to body panels and create a mesh, I want to change from tri-mesh, which did look really nice, into just, I think it's simplified convex shape. It'll be the cheapest. Not as a nice looking mesh, but it's still kind of the general shape of the car, but it'll be way quicker to calculate and it'll work out pretty well when we're running our moving car in the game. So I'm going to move that collision shape up onto my car and we're ready to play. We're going to run the game with our purple car, and you'll see it's much more bouncy than this car probably should be, and it's very, very easy to roll over as well. I barely need to turn, and you're kind of stuck when you roll over at the moment in our game. So I need to actually look at some of the settings on our car and tweak them so that I'm not just falling over immediately when I come to play the game. The first setting is to change the weight of our car, which is up here on the car vehicle body 3D node. Cars weigh far more than 40 kilos, and in fact I've gone and googled the exact weight of a Audi S4 2006, and I've found out that it's 1,660 kilos. So if you want an accurate car, that was the number I found online for the weight of this particular model of car. But we'll find that if we make the car that heavy, it just doesn't move at all in the game because we're not giving it enough force. So I'm also going to tweak this number that we've got in our script, and I'm going to change it from 100 to what's worked well for me is 4,100. I found a number for this car which was how much torque it had. It was 410. I tried 410, it was still way too small, but 4,100 seems to be a nice amount of force for me to use on this car. The only remaining settings are all those many different options that we've got on the wheels. So again, I'm going to click all four wheels and hold down Control so that I can select all of them, and I'm going to open up all the options that we've got on our wheels. I've discovered it's not as bad as I was thinking, trying to learn all these things about cars, because you can hover over each of the different properties and Godot gives you a description of what they do. This one, for example, roll influence, says If you set it to 1, your vehicle will resist rolling, and if you set it to 0, it will roll over all the time. And for some reason they've set it to 0.1. I don't want my car to roll over, so I'm just going to set that fully to 1. Got a similar thing here with friction slip. It says, if you don't know what you're doing, you should set it to 1. And I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'm going to set it to 1. It seems to work well for me when I use this car. And then finally, I'm going to do what I can to try to stop the car being so bouncy. And I believe that's what these damping ones are for. It works for me that I've turned them all the way up to 5. And it seems to make my car a fair bit less bouncy. Just change them both to 5. That's the settings that I've got on my car. I do admit that I don't really know what most of the settings mean. I've tried to kind of work it out and play around with them, and I've got something that's reasonably nice, but you might feel like playing around with them and tweaking them and doing a better job if you want to just get a perfect car for you. So here's how our car plays now. I should be able to drive around and not really ever fall over. It's got a pretty nice speed to it. Everything seems to be working pretty well. I can go quickly, I can turn around at reasonable pace. Nothing happens right now when we fall off the map, but up until the point where I fell off the map, I think it was driving pretty nicely. So the final vehicle settings, if you just want to match all of the numbers I've got, are all there on the side panel. That's the transform of the wheel. We've got 4100 in there, but you can play around with almost all of these numbers. You probably don't want to move the wheels, but the rest are pretty free for you to just experiment with. Colour of the car is something you can experiment with. The weight of the car was 1660 kilos. That's the only number that's not on the screen at the moment. Have a bit of fun tweaking all the properties on the car and seeing if you can get something that works nicely for you.